It's Sunday night with ILXCTF. I'm your host, Mike Newman. How is everybody doing this weekend? Everybody's hydrated. It's kind of funny. Kevin Dorsey, who's the photographer that shoots those excellent pictures that you see for the meets, you saw for Hinsdale and for yesterday, that are up on the first to the finish page on Runner's Space. Kevin is taking a team picture of Lake Forest. Lake Forest ran good at Peoria yesterday. He's like, do you know who that guy is over there? I was sitting at my car getting something to drink, getting something to eat in between races, and I needed a little bit of a break. And everybody looks at me and they're like, they didn't know who I was. I'm like, thanks a lot, Kevin, for the ego boost there. No, but I had a lot of nice people that came up and said hi to me. Wish I could have interviewed everybody in the meet yesterday, but there were over 5,000 people, so what can you do about that? I was trying to figure out what we're going to talk about today. No. A lot of things to discuss. Seriously, we're going to spend a lot of time on first to the finish. You had so many ranked teams there, about 95, 96 teams. So I think we're going to spend the majority of the time there. We're also going to talk about Lake Park. We're going to talk about Joliet Central. We're going to talk about Paxton Buckley Loda. They invite there, and then Springfield Lamphere at the Hallberg Invitational. So let's start. Let's start with the girls' races, because ladies first. Obviously, guys, ladies first. You gotta do that. Let's talk about the 1A girls. Real interesting race to start out with. The temperatures rose like crazy throughout the day, and 3A races really reflected that. 1A race, Anna Perry from Eureka goes out, takes the lead. She looked good throughout. And Grace Erb of Winnebago, and what is her name? Elena Rybeck. Keep an eye on her. She's a freshman from Father McGivney that ran super and ran absolutely super yesterday. So they finally caught up to Anna in the last mile, and Erb took off with about 300 meters to go, won the race in, I had to write this down, 17:48. Rybeck was 17:54. Perry was 18:04. So for a 1A race, pretty good times this early in the year. Under pretty good course conditions, a little bit warm. It was really humid. A little bit of a breeze from the south that made things feel a little bit better. Winnebago wins with 64 points. 5 runners in the first 28. I didn't see Katie Erb. I thought I saw Katie Erb at the meet. I thought I saw her in the race, but she's not in the results. So they still had 5 runners in the top 28, 3 runners in the first 10 with 64 points. Winnebago's the defending champs from 2019. They won at Shazam last year. They're a good team. They're the team to beat in 1A right now. But Tolono Unity gave Winnebago a lot to think about on the way home. They scored 89 points, looked good. Woodard led the pack. I think she was 10th place. But they had a nice pack, 89 points. And then Eureka was with 119 points. And then there was a huge drop-off. There's about 5 pretty good teams, in 1A. I didn't see what Rosary did, if they ran everybody at the Royal Cadet on Marmion's campus. I'll have to double check there. But with Rosary in there, you have 5 pretty good teams. There was about a 100-point difference before Wheaton Academy came in 4th and Father McGivney 5th. And then IC Prep. IC Prep will be good when they get Cal Cagno back, and they were 6th. So a good girls race to start off with. Maybe the best race of the day in the 2A girls race. Elia Tonthat. She didn't race last week. This was her first race of the year. How would you like to start the season running 17:15 for your first race and win? and she won by 15 seconds. She looked good throughout. Took the lead the half mile, wasn't looking around. Maybe she was, I didn't see it. But to run 17:15 like that, she hadn't run there. She ran 18 minutes as a sophomore in 2019. She hasn't run here at Detweiler since. So 17:15, and can you imagine Ava Perec in that race, who was on a college visit, and she didn't race. Can you imagine Perec and Tom Thank going at it? Mia Kotler ran 17:30. She got third in the race. Who else? Did I write anybody else down? Isabella Maresco of that Lake Forest team was 17:46, and she got third. The team that had control of the race at 2 miles was Dunlop. Dunlop had a real nice pack throughout, but here came Grayslake Central at the end. The number 2 team in 2A. Will they be number 1 next week? I'd say it's a good bet. They scored 96 points to win at Dunlop. Nice pack. 114 points for second. Vernon Hills 3 points off in third, 117 points. Vernon Hills beat Grayslake Central at Lake County. Grayslake Central returned the favor at Fenton. And now this week, everybody was running for both teams. Lake Forest was fourth. Nazareth Academy, what a great team race they ran. They finished fifth. You had 18 ranked teams, something like that. There were a lot of ranked teams in there. So you get teams that ran in that race got a good indication of where they stand this early in the year and what they need to do. Lanton School was 10th. And they didn't have Perec. Where they would have finished with Perec in there, I haven't figured it out yet. I haven't done the rankings. I haven't looked at the rankings yet. So Perec will be running next week back in Peoria, that huge race at the Richard Spring at Detweiler. So we'll have to wait and see on that. In the 3A girls race, it was warm. Lucy Westlake took the lead just after the mile, and she held on. I want to make sure I get her name right because I was saying it wrong in the race videos. Beatrix Gilson, that's it. She's a junior from New Trier. Keep an eye on her. This is her first year running. She hasn't run cross country before, and she gets second, and she runs, what was it, 17:34, something ridiculous like that. For your first time at Detweiler, she is going to do some great things this year. I'm telling you right now. Third place was third. Oh yeah, Katrina Schleicher. First race of the year. I saw her warming up before, and I'm like, "Are you racing?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm racing." But about third. What a way to start, 17:46. Nice way to start the season now. If you haven't raced, your team has run 3 times now. She ran her first race. And then Sarah Maggio of Matea, 17:46, was fourth, and I can't read my writing after that. Team-wise, Naperville North, 100 points. There were so many orange jerseys in that race. But Naperville North with 100 points with Westlake winning, and then their pack was right there, a nice tight split there. 100 points winning at Minooka. We've seen Minooka do great things at the Yorkville Invite. They held off Prospect at Hinsdale. So Minooka's a good team. We kind of knew that already. Naperville Central. We didn't know they were a good team until last week. And then they showed us how good they were at Hinsdale. And then yesterday getting through with 134 points. New Trier, 144 points. When you have a low stick up front like Gilson is, that's a good thing for New Trier. And then Lions, 182 points, and Batavia with 194. Those were the top 5 teams, only teams that were under 200 points. So Batavia is going to be moving up. We kind of figured that was going to happen. Lions, there's going to be a lot of changes this week. I don't know what the changes are going to be. So let's go to boys. Miles Shepard. He is a runner, and I see this a lot. He's if you've ever seen the movie. What is the name of that movie now? Oh my gosh. Kevin Costner, not Field of Dreams. Bull Durham. So there's the one part where Kevin Costner comes charging to the mound, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And Nuke LaLoosh is going, I'm expressing my authority, my presence with authority. And I've seen that with many races where people go out hard, and all of a sudden at the end of the race, they, haven't gone over the line yet. But Miles Shepard is one of those guys, but he can hold that pace. But in that heat, he went out in 4:40 for the first mile. It's one of those things you have to see how you feel that first mile, and you use that later on in races. It's like in pole vaulting. You go after a high height, you don't make it, but you get that experience. Second mile, he was about 9:35, 9:36. And when you saw him coming up the hill winning, he won by about 30 seconds, mind you. He runs 14:59, but he was struggling at that finish line. But he wins by 30 seconds. I was trying to figure out who second was throughout because I never said his name. Miles Stoger of Fieldcrest at 15:27. Then two Latin School. Latin School had 3 in the first 9. Gilly Parek and Ryan Hardiman were together. Hardiman, first race back from a bicycle accident. He looked good throughout. I did an interview with them. It's on Runner Space. It's on the Runner Space page for the meet. And I knew I was at a real cross-country meet when people were walking through the interview. And I'm just thinking, oh, geez, this didn't happen last year, but it happened this year. So I was able to laugh about it. So be it. Team-wise, Latin at 99 points. The freshman, Ben Gibson, was 9th overall. Their 4th and 5th runners back a little bit. But when you have 3 runners way up front like that, that's a cool thing. Stanford Olympic keeps getting better, 129 points. Rockford Christian, they were ranked 3rd in the state, 159 points for 3rd. They ran a great race. And then Normal U-High was a big drop off from 159 to 241. And then Decatur St. Teresa, reading my notes here, and then Hamilton West Hancock with 2 runners in the top 10. Both scored 245, and they were 5th and 6th. So in the 2A boys race, we said Morton they were up for the race, up for the big races. They won the race, but Wilson Georges, he just runs under control throughout and made his move in the triangle, broke away from the pack, runs 14:46, wins it. Interviews up on the site. Yusuf Bag of Burlington Central ran a great race throughout. He wanted to see what he could do. Tried to stay with Georges throughout. 15:04 second. Cooper Mars and Paul Proto of Riverside went 3-5. Arby has 3 runners in the top 8. They're going to be a good team when it gets to money time. And then 4th, oh my gosh, what a story. Brian Horgan of Belvedere North. Let me tell you about him. This is his first year out for cross country. He used to play basketball. Maybe he's still going to play basketball this winter. He runs 15:18. He didn't start training till the first day of practice in August. Are you kidding me? Ridiculous. Just ridiculous. But what a great race by him. He gets 4th place overall. He just goes out and runs, and that's a cool thing. And we saw that last year with a bunch of athletes that would go out for cross country. You didn't have volleyball, so let's go out for cross country. And you would see things like that. Well, we saw something here, and he's going to run great the rest of the year, I can tell you that. So Morton, 3 runners in the top 15, 10, 13, 15. Nice pack them, 51-59 for 150 points. Belvedere North, we had them ranked up there high. 4, 33, 35, 45, 60 for 177 points. Deerfield, 3 runners up there, 11, 12, 32, and then 63, 75. They were 3rd. Deerfield ran a great race at 193. RB, 3 good runners up there, and then they have a gap of 4, and then they have another gap for 5th. They need to find a 5th runner. They have a 5th runner, but they need to find a 5th runner that's closer to them. But they scored 218 points. And then Glenbard South with 245. Somebody said, there was somebody before the race, sure, you got Glenbard South overranked. They're 6th. You got them 6th in the state. I don't even have them in my area. Well, They get fifth. There were four ranked teams ahead of them. They're a good team. Nice split by them. 3A boys race. I had somebody ask me, what did you think of the race? How did you think the teams ran? So to be honest, I don't think the top 3, 4, maybe 5 teams had their best race. But you're not supposed to have your best race in early September. But they all didn't run great. They ran okay. And you could tell it was the slowest pace of the day. They were about 2:16, 2:17 at the half, 4:48, 4:49 at the mile, 9:50 at 2 miles, and then at the end, Daniel Watke pulls away, just holds off Nick Falk. They were only a half a second apart in 14:50, 14:50.5. And then Riley Newport had a great race from DeKalb, 14:56. Burns of Plainfield North, Mr. Burns, 14:57. And then Caden Simone of Lincoln Way East right at 15:01. New Trier, 125. Hinsdale Central, 135. Downers Grove, 1 point back, 136. Everybody, those teams, Hinsdale Central had a 49-second gap between Watke and their pack, and then a 9-second split from 2 to 5. So they get that pack a little bit closer, which they had last week at Hinsdale. Yeah. Waubonsee Valley fourth, 153 points. They had one runner. Oh, I can't remember. I didn't write his name down. But he pulled at the end. He was like 30th. In the last quarter, he passed like about 20 guys. He really ran good. He finished 12th. But Waubonsee Valley has been running 18 to 20-second splits. They ran a 28-second split, but they got 4th. And then Neuqua Valley 5th. Neuqua had a great race. Palmer was their first runner in 11th, then 14, and they went from there. Their 5th runner was a little bit back. 53-second split on 5, but it was a good meet. It was what I was expecting in the 3A race, because you didn't have the Nuke LaLoosh guys that wanted to express their authority with going out in 58 seconds for the first 400. So, nobody LaLooshing it there. That's going to be a new term in cross country. He LaLooshed that first quarter. Okay. So let's go over the other meets quickly. We're running short on time. Oswego 29, York 48, Fenwick 64 at Joliet Central. Oswego didn't have one of their top runners. York didn't have their top runner. So York's first race of the year. Oswego ran 4, but Oswego ran a 42-second split on 5. York ran a 41-second split on 5, but it was Oswego's pack that beat York's pack. So York has a little bit of work to do. They know that. And Fenwick ran good at 64 points. On the girls' side, Lincoln Way East 52, Neuqua Valley 2nd, and then Oswego 3rd. Audra Sutherland of Oswego 18-18 wins by about 30 seconds. Lake Park, I heard it was supposed to be a real good meet. What is this, 6th grade grammar? What the heck? St. Charles East with 54 points ahead of Wheaton Warrenville South. Jones Prep 3rd. Lane Tech 4th, ran a good race. And then Wheaton North at 118. St. Charles East, top 10 team. But there are 15 top 10 teams right now in 3A. Wheaton North didn't run a few of their top runners. So that's going to figure in the rankings. They're not going to be behind Jones or Lane Tech, I don't think. But Michael Wilson went on a college visit, didn't have to run on the hill for the Levy invite, comes back, runs 14:52 under control. Mike Atkins from Wheaton Warrenville South, the only other runner under 15 minutes. He was at 14:58. Girls side, Grace Shager. She was all state in 3200. I was like, well, let's see what she does during cross country. She's a pretty good runner. She was all state in the 2 mile. She runs 17:27 on that course on September 1. She comes back 10 days later and lays down a 16:57. Woo! That's the fastest 3 mile time on any course this year so far. But really fantastic. Ooh, watch Tanley. But 16:57, Audrey Allman of Glenbard was 17:12. And then York's pack came in at 3, 4, 5, 12, 16, and then Berger was 20th, was their 6th runner. Quinn was their 4th runner on 12. They hadn't raced the week before. York, 42 seconds split, 35 points. Prospect, 73 points. That tells you a lot. That tells you how good York is. York runs next week at Peoria, the Richard Spring. So we get to see them in action on the big course in the big show. What else? Paxton Buckley Loda. D-Rog, Drew Rogers, 14:51, beat his friend, longtime friend Ryder James, 14:56. Good race there. Don't know what the pace was, didn't know what the strategy was. Arthur Lovington, again, 3 runners up there, their 4th and 5th runners are back. But here again, you look at most of the other teams in the state, and they're like that. So if you put 3 runners up there right now, I think you're going to be able to do some good things. They scored 58 points. Hersher, 77 points. Kankakee McNamara, 97 points. Girls side, Trixie Johnson wins the girls race in 1921, I think it was. And then Gabby Moorman of Bismarck Hanning was 3rd at 2012. Paxton Buckley Loda wins with 61 to 65 over Hersher. So a close race there. Last, and you can go to the results at athletic.net, look under the date. All the results are there, but we've got time for one more. Springfield Lanphier, Muhammad Seymour, 47, Chatham Glenwood 80, or 100, I'm sorry. I was alerted by Mike Garber, the Chatham Glenwood coach, they were going to tempo this race like they did the week before at Granite City. So they did. 100 points, Muhammad Seymour, number 1 team in 2A. They showed why they were. They looked good, 47 points. Fiker Rosen, when you run under 16 minutes at Lincoln Park in Springfield, that's pretty good. And Fiker Rosen ran 15:56 from Quincy. Girls side, Mabry Brune, 18:41, beat Allie Ince by 9 seconds. Both runners are going to be at Peoria next week. The girls race next week, I'm telling you, it's lights out. You have Brune, you have Ince, you have Perek, you have Wellen, you have Surtz, you have Nikovitich. And I know I'm missing a lot of runners, but it's just filthy, rich, loaded with talent. But Brune, 41.50 for Allie Ince. Monticello with 48. Chatham Glenwood had a pack between 9 and 13. Here again, tempoing. But they were second with 55 points. And then Normal Community was 77 points. So, big meet next week. Manuka has a flight meet, but Richard Spring, I don't know how many teams are going to be there, about 88, 89, 90, close to 100. They're going to have a starting line with a little pier on Lake Peoria or on the Illinois River, just so that they can get everybody starting in the race. They're not letting any parking on the other side of the road on Saturday, just because the starting line is going to be so wide. Just kidding. Boys side, you have going into the rankings from last week, you have 3 of the top 4 teams. You have York, Oswego, Sandburg, and a lot of other good teams. Lincoln, Oregon is a team I would not dismiss. They ran pretty well at their first meet last weekend. Ash Creek, check those results out. But Eric Detman, former York runner, brings his team in, wants to show them what Detweiler Park looks like. And there's some knuckleheads from out of state who are like, oh, Detweiler Park is a pancake. Woodbridge in California is a pancake. I wanted to respond back. Didn't respond back. Anybody that's run Detweiler knows tough. You got to be in the best shape of your life to run some fast times there. It's a speedway, but it's speedway with little hills that take your legs out of you. Then it takes your soul. Oh, U.S. Open. And Jovic. And last time I checked, Jokovic is down in the 3rd set. Ooh. So, like I said, had a great time in Peoria. It's always nice to go back to Detweiler. I got there early just as the sun was rising. And I don't know what that symbolizes. Maybe it symbolizes a little bit more peace in my life. Last 2 weeks have been crazy. You have jackasses that come in and out of your life that try to make things hard, have their own agendas, and what can you do? You just go on, and you smile, and you just say, well, I'm so much better than responding to anything. So, one more thing. So I'm taking a break after the Lake Forest girls left. I'm finishing up. I had a quick snack, get my stomach filled a little bit. I was feeling a little queasy. Took some Pedialyte, but Powerade. And I'm watching the race go by, and there's this girl that's watching the race, and she keeps looking around at me. I'm like, she recognizes me, or I don't know what's going on. And she comes up and she's like, "Are you Mike Newman?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she introduced herself. She was Ella Miller. I got the name right. From Trinity. She was the #1 runner for Trinity. Finished 53rd in the 2A race. And she's like, "I just wanted to tell you that I ran a PR of 35 seconds. I got to correct you, Ella. You ran 20:41 the week before in Fenton, and then you come out and you run 19:51? Are you kidding me?" You get an "are you kidding me?" because that's pretty good. And your PR last year was over 21 minutes, and now you're in the high 19s. So, nice little conversation. I think the one thing that you can put your mind to doing whatever you want to. The mind is a powerful thing. Sebco always said, you know, you can control 95% of your body, but that upper 5% is where you got to really watch out for that. So you can do whatever you want to do. For those of you that ran PRs on Saturday, great job. You're going to run better during the year. And if you had an injury or something happen, guess what? The sun came up this morning, the sun will come up tomorrow. It'll be another day, and you work on bettering yourself. And that's a cool thing about running. You decide. Do you want to be better? Well, then work hard. And smile when you're doing it, and have fun, and run with your teammates, and tell stories, and laugh a lot. That's... I can tell you about the races I ran, but I can tell you more about the stories on the practices and workouts, and and on long runs and car trips that we had. But I can tell you all of that. So, big meet coming up this week. We're at 28 minutes. I think this is where we're going to stop. Thank you very much to the IHSA. They sent us our general media passes, so we're legit. Want to be legit. Whatever. But thank you for everybody that came up and said hi. Those of you that didn't want to, well, okay, that's okay. But we'll talk a lot more. There's a lot more. Hopefully we get the sectional assignments up next week, and we'll talk a lot about that. I hope. We'll see. It's so wide open this year. This is ridiculous. I hate to do the rankings. No, I'm going to have fun doing the rankings because so many teams are going to flip-flop. Not in 2A boys, but everywhere else we're going to see some changes. So for the next time, till the next time that we talk, it's Mike Newman. It's Sunday night with ILXCTF. Go Bears. I hope. Go Bears. Cleveland, my other team, is playing good against Kansas City. Unless I go out there after I'm done with this and they're behind. But Cleveland looks pretty good against Kansas City today. So go Browns. So it's Mike Newman, ILXCTF.com. Have a great week, everybody. I will see you at Peoria on Saturday. Bye.